Welcome back. Today we're going to be installing most of these things on my 2020 CRF250L. The first thing, and something we're not going to be installing today, are a couple of rim straps. These are just some rubber straps or rubber bands that go around the outside of the rim, which would be, inside the tire, that protect the tube from the spokes. And speaking of tubes, I finally got a front inner tube, so this will go along with my rear inner tube that I got previously. So let's start off with the easiest thing to install, and that would be this PSR aluminum oil fill cap. As we all know, the aluminum fill cap on pretty much every Honda is a plastic one that you can use with your hand, so it is convenient. The downside is that it does lend itself to breaking rather easily if it is hit in the wrong way. And I think on the CRF it is particularly vulnerable, just due to its placement. If you tip the bike over on a rock or something, it could easily break that off. So this will prevent that from happening. And it comes with this lock wire strap that I probably won't be using. I'll just be using the metal part. And it comes with some really nice stickers, which is fantastic. I'm sure you guys know how much I love stickers if you've watched my videos for any period of time. And even though it comes with an American flag sticker, and they put right on the box there, right on the front, that the company's from California, it is in fact made in Taiwan. That's not a horrible thing. Taiwan generally makes some pretty good stuff. So let's go and put this on first. All right, the first thing to do probably is just to give this area a general clean, because we don't want any of this sand or silt getting into the engine block, that's for sure. I would say if the other one is safe enough to be hand tight, this one is, but you can't get quite as much leverage on this with your fingers as you can with the other one. And it happens to be a 21 millimeter. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a snug with that. The downside here is that I don't think there is anything else on this bike that is 21 millimeter, but I have other things in my toolkit that will allow me to remove this without an issue. Obviously, the next thing to do is put one of the stickers on. In this case, I'm going to make sure I put this on the left side of the bike, because the way the American flag works by the books is that it should always look like it's flying into the direction of travel. So having this on the other side of the bike where this would be forwards is wrong, and that's why you'll often see the American flag look backwards on some aircraft and vehicles. This next sticker is going to be a little trickier. I want to put it right here. And I did have to obviously remove the windscreen to do that. Next up, let's do a more difficult install, and that will be putting on this cable. I guess it's sort of a harness for a trickle charger. Now, Tusk / Rocky Mountain ATV MC claim that this charger is designed to be permanently plugged in and it won't overvolt the battery. So that's a benefit of this style. They're very cheap. It's like 15 bucks for this, so I might pick up another one since I have two bikes. And then you can just have this, give easy access to this from the outside of the bike, and then you can charge it up whenever you need. So let's go throw this on. So the battery is behind this panel right here, and to get to that panel I have to remove my Reckless 40 because you kind of have to remove the seat and everything to get that panel off. And to remove the seat, I've got to remove that. A little annoying, but oh well. All right, to get the panel off, you just have to undo one screw down here, and then there's a rubber grommet up over here, and then you just pull it off. And there's the battery. The battery is just held in by two M5 bolts, which use a 5mm hex. Sorry, these are M6, not M5. Okay, I'm not super happy with the way this installed because the terminations on, especially this red one, on both the factory harness and the Tusk harness here, just really don't like to work with each other too well. And this point right there got strained quite a bit. And so that's gonna be a failure point of this at some point. The nice thing is that most of the stuff in this area is plastic, so it's not likely to just ground out somewhere. And that's, that's a good thing. But the other thing is that this cable is very short. I wish it would have been, maybe that much longer. And it does tuck out of the way for the most part. And then when you put the panel back on, and that gets screwed back down, it's accessible and it's not in a place that's going to get super muddy, because at least it's on the outside of the bike and not in here where all the dirt is getting flung up. So I think that's going to be suitable for now, and it still has enough ease of access to get used. So I can still get that out. And then it tucks away in a pretty nice spot. So this actually I'm not too unhappy about. It's just the positive terminal in there. Last but certainly not least are these Acerbis frame guards. These are actually made in Italy, which is pretty cool because there isn't that much stuff made in Italy. And these are made out of polypropylene and EPDM. So this metallic flake silver plastic is the polypropylene, and then this red rubberized, with a pretty good grippy texture, this is made of EPDM. And I think those are pretty reasonable materials for this application. Something that I think is important, because I did actually read the instructions for this, well, I should say I glanced over them, is this part right here. It is highly recommended to remove the product periodically for cleaning maintenance. Here's why. These are not rigidly mounted on the frame. They're just connected with some zip ties, which are provided, which is excellent. But they will slide a little bit on the frame. And if you get a bunch of dirt and sand in there, and the vibration of the bike will have, some micro braiding going on, it'll eat right through the paint. So it doesn't say how long of a time periodically is. I'm going to take a guess at once or twice a year, depending on how much dirt you do. If you do a lot of dirt and gravel, maybe a few times a year, but I think 1 or 2 times a year is probably reasonable. And you can read over the rest of the instructions here if you care. And so let's finish this up and get this on the bike too. So yes, the last one, the frame guards. I'm only going to show you this side because it's the more complicated side. The other one is installed the same way, except for you don't have to remove the factory guard. The nice thing about this Acerbis one is it does add some level of protection, albeit small, but some protection to the brake master cylinder, which can only be a good thing. I'm going to leave these two slightly loose while I put the zip ties on. That way it kind of sits more happily wherever it wants to be. And then I'll tighten these up. You use 3 zip ties per side, and then I'm going to use my angle cutters here, which happen to be made in Germany, to cut them off. Interestingly here, one of the 3 places they want you to put a zip tie, there's no way through. Like there's no hole in the brake master cylinder area for you to get anything through there. So to make up for that, I think I'm just going to put something around here, maybe. I mean, it doesn't really need it, but I'd rather have something to keep this from flapping around. One very quick safety note, when you're trying to cut off this one, be careful not to cut into the brake line, because this is the supply hose from the brake reservoir to the master cylinder, and you definitely don't want brake fluid leaking everywhere. Well, that's all there is to it. The other side is very similar to this one. Just got to make sure I tighten these both up. And now we're ready to ride. We got the new oil fill cap, some frame guards, and then the trickle charger cable. And really that's just, you know, what, 15, 20 minutes of work total. So these are some pretty easy things you can do yourself that really don't chance you harming or breaking anything. So if you've never worked on a bike before, if you're the kind of person that takes it to a friend or takes it to a shop, but you want to kind of start learning how to do things, I think these 3 things right here are pretty simple as starting out, you know, jobs to do, to learn the tricks of the trade. So until next time, see ya.